everybody. I am Melissa McKay. I'm a developer advocate with JFrog, and I'm here at the DevOps Speakeasy at JFocus 2023. And I have the pleasure of sitting next to Ola Ellnestam. He is a speaker at this event this time.
Yep.
Ola, would you like to introduce yourself? Let everyone know who you are and what you're doing here at JFocus.
Yeah, I'm a developer. When I get what I want, I typically work with small teams, around 6 or 7 people, do a lot of programming and also involved in the day-to-day business and meet with users of the system or something like that. So
Awesome.
small teams program a lot. I'm
Cool.
happy as a fish.
Awesome. I think that describes a lot of folks here today. We've got a lot of people out here roaming around. I think there's about 2,000
Yeah, I heard.
that
Yeah,
we were
2000
expecting.
It's huge now.
Yes,
Yeah.
sold out a while ago, actually.
Mhm,
So pretty incredible to be here.
Yeah.
Will you have a talk today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow at
Okay.
11.
Nice.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about it? I'm really interested in this one.
Yeah, okay. It's. I was thinking. I was approached by Matthias, and he said, "Isn't it time for you to speak again?" I was like, "Well, I don't know. What do I have to say?" So, but you could say that I've prepared for this speech in 10 years. It's called 10,000 Hours Taking Care of Business. It's
Okay.
a play on Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 Hours. What you become sort of proficient after 10,000 hours, and taking care of business is of course the song "Taking Care of Business." So I imagine that I'm going into the room there, and then it's on loudspeakers taking care of business. No, but really, it's what have I? How did my sort of how have my approach to software development changed over these past 10 years? So I'm going to talk about 9 different aspects, what I've learned, how I've changed, and yeah, it's been very sort of humbling.
A lot
Yeah.
has changed, hasn't it?
A lot has
It's pretty
changed.
incredible.
It's pretty, yeah. Some of the techniques that were, I sort of adopted this system. I usually joke that software is conceiving sort of like a baby.
Yes.
But there's all these aspects. That's not like a baby. It's you need to remove parts of the system, and you don't remove parts of a baby, but taking care
I
of
hope not.
almost a live creature, adding more stuff, but I adopted this system. It was 3 years old,
Okay.
and some of the stuff is still there. It bugs me. It nags me. Like, okay, I want to remove this, but I can't,
Right.
or haven't had the time. But other parts have sort of evolved, and it's a different part. It's really different than was, I don't know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and also how the system is used is very different from 5, 10, 15 years ago, when the system was a small part of a niche bank, and the bank has grown. It's almost not a niche bank anymore. The
Right.
system has tripled, quadrupled its the expert users, and also the customer part is also a lot bigger now. It handles a lot more money, like 13, 14 times more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I do like your analogy of
Yeah.
the software is like a baby,
Yeah.
because it's not like you plan it and you write it and you're done.
No, you're
right?
not. No.
It is daily maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at it.
Yeah.
I like to think about, like, even when we're improving our own selves, as individuals, we constantly are reflecting and looking at, where can I be better?
Yeah.
Where do I need to improve? Things like that. Same with software. We do the same thing
Yeah,
there.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. With JFrog, we're definitely heavily into DevOps, and
Yep.
that's something that we teach a lot as well. Try to educate is that there are always places when your whole release pipeline, you can make small improvements over time. Now, you mentioned something. You said there's some old parts of your system you wish you could change, but you can't.
Yeah.
What are some reasons you wouldn't be able to?
One of the big reasons is an early decision to from a code business standpoint, not to store snapshots of data.
Okay.
So I was listening to Event-Driven Demystified, and I sort of picked up that. Okay, so yeah, I've been thinking about snapshots. I haven't had the words,
Right.
but that's what we want to do.
Okay.
We want snapshots of we really close the books every year
Right.
at the bank. You can't easily go back 3 or 4 years and change stuff.
Right.
So you close the books and then you work on that. So that should be a snapshot.
Okay.
And we're using an ORM way too much to be able to recalculate values, and that's very.
Oh,
When
yes.
you go, when you look at one account, it's fine.
Uh-huh.
You can pick up the account and read from the beginning of time, like, okay, we got this and this much data, which results in this and that. But if you're
Right.
to look upon thousands and thousands of accounts in a report,
Yeah.
you have to have a different approach. And for us to wiggle out of that, the ORM, the object relational mapping tool,
Uh-huh.
it's hard to wiggle out of that because there's so much intricate rules that have changed over the years that are into the code.
Right.
So if you pinpoint an if and like, okay, why is this here? Why are we comparing dates on the date and not before and after? And if you change that and your whole the account looks different, it could be.
Oh, interesting.
It could be a deposit that is made the day before, and you don't. If it's a huge deposit, you get a lot of interest. It makes
Right.
an impact. But if you if you like to try to test the system and don't test it with the correct data, you hardly see the difference. So you might be led into thinking, okay, I can make this change.
Right.
But then you make that change, and then you do the whole recalculating on the whole system, the account holders, and it's like, wow, it's different now. So.
Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I would imagine, especially with a system like that, you've got to be very careful.
Yeah.
And you need some level of immutability too,
Oh,
right?
yeah. That's one of the things that I've sort of changed my mind upon, how to construct objects and how I love immutability now.
Right.
I wasn't. That's a concept. I don't know how old it is, but to me, it was an eye opener. I don't know, 7, 8 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Like how much I really appreciate immutability. I thought I could do with setters and changing that, but now we really do aim for immutability everywhere.
Yes. It's prevalent in all aspects too.
Yeah, it should be.
When you talk about think about like versioning,
Yeah.
release.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that your release is immutable. It's not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very, very important, and some pretty serious consequences
Oh yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, people tend to care about their money.
Yep. This whole concept has been hard fought to get there, to get to a place where we appreciate it and understand immutability a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, very good. Is this your first time at JFocus?
No, it's not. I was here. I had to look it up, but it was 2011.
Oh, wow.
I was here promoting an idea on how to change code without breaking the system while doing it.
Uh-huh.
So after that, me and my co-presenter Daniel, we liked the idea so much and got the response that we decided to write a book about it. So there's this book called The Mikado Method.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So it's an approach to how do you approach software changes, big structural change, without breaking systems. So that was back in 2011. Matthias, he believed in us and let us present. And then 2 years later, we knew so much about it, so we decided to write a book. So that was the last time I was here, actually.
Wow.
But I have been here, not as a speaker, though, but in other forms.
Yeah. So all this time has passed, but a lot of these principles and concepts are still relevant, very much relevant today.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah?
I tend to hope so.
Well, I'm interested in this book.
Pardon?
I'm interested in this
Yeah?
book.
Okay, so the analogy is a pick-up sticks game.
Okay.
And what you really want is the highest scoring stick at the bottom. That's
Okay.
the change that you want to perform. So you really
okay.
want that stick, but you can't reach for the stick because then you lose the game. You can't. So you need to know in which order you need to do the changes of the system. Like, okay, first this stick, and then that, and then that, and then you can reach for the bottom topmost scoring stick, typically. But in software, you can achieve that by trying something. If what happens if I move this class over here and these 3 over here and inject something in here? Okay, well, that breaks the system here. Okay, roll it back, undo, make a note, and then you try to do whatever prerequisite there is to sort of not break the system. And then you go about doing that, trying stuff, and then you have a refactoring map.
Ah, okay.
And then you go for the what we call the leaves. Stuff that you can do without breaking the system. Move 3 classes and inject and create a new class and maybe move a method. Okay, that's done. Commit that, and then you go and then you look at the graph again, and then you see, here's a prerequisite that doesn't seem to have anything else. Another prerequisite.
Right.
So then you move. You have this huge graph, and then you move to the center where the real goal is, where you if you express it as a business goal, you can also show that to people of the business. And say, okay, you asked for this. This is how much we need to do in order to get you there. And then you don't have to do the sort of big trying to talk them into something. It's like, okay, this is, and they can see, okay, that's at least 2 weeks worth of work. Yeah,
right.
It is.
Right.
Or unless if you are willing to compromise a bit, we can go here. And usually that's much more efficient than trying to, okay, can we have 1 month just to do some refactoring? And then you go, no, why? Aren't you building a good system? But yeah, but we didn't foresee this and that. But if you draw something and visualize how big the change is, all discussions usually disappear. That's very, very often happen.
This communication is so important.
Yep.
I remember, and this was just due to limited experience at the time, but as a new developer, I remember getting so frustrated because there were all of these things I really wanted to do, but I didn't have approval to do them, you know, and like you said, rather than trying to force the issue, you know, present it in a way that makes sense. And oftentimes that is money. Money, time, because we all have limited resources.
Oh, yeah.
And even though maybe, you know, there's a better way of doing something, it really is the company's decision on whether they want to spend that effort there or not, and to prioritize.
Yeah, I think so. It's I think it sort of levels the playing field when you're talking about the change in terms that everyone can agree upon and see the value of.
Yes.
I give them the technical perspective, and they make a more informed decision, probably.
Yep. One thing, and one thing I also learned over time, and I'd love your opinion on this, is I think sometimes we have to accept we might not ever get to that ideal situation, right?
No.
Things change, especially if you have a project that takes a long time.
Right.
Undoubtedly, you're going to be changing paths, you know, along the way, and changing your focus, reprioritizing.
Yeah.
You might have to have this discussion multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
As you move to different avenues. This idea of just improving bit by bit rather than trying to do it all at once, make it less overwhelming.
Yeah. Less stressful.
Yes.
I mean, it's. I used to think that I could change a system. I don't know, maybe 6 months, 1 year, but it turns out that people change their mind.
Yes.
And and the world around us keeps evolving. It's very prevalent in banking, where new laws come into play every 6 months in Sweden, maybe something like that. And you thought you had your system in check, and it's like, okay, this is going to work, and then someone dreams up a new idea, and like, okay, well, we need to check if people are depositing money from this country, and if they do, we need to keep track of that money. It's like, okay, this is a new thing. I didn't know that 6 months ago.
Yep.
So is this really happening? It's like, yeah, it's happening on the 1st of July. Okay, so which one of these do you want to drop? None.
Everything's important. Everything is high priority.
Yeah, and I have my priorities because I think the system is getting slow, so I want to do this. And it's like, nope, no, you can't do that. So you have to live with some parts of the system. They don't look like a way that you want them to look like.
Right.
And when you realize, okay, so now we want to do it in this way, in that way instead. So I call these idiomatic shifts.
Yes.
When you change the way we do something, which is also a part of my talk tomorrow. But you have to sort of be able to have two ideas in your mind at the same time, and be comfortable with that. And that took me years. I wanted everything to look the same.
Yes.
Very neat, ordered.
Yeah, I think most of us are.
Yeah.
It's one of the characteristics
we're
of being a
developers.
developer,
Yeah,
right?
we love order and structure.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so tolerating a bit of chaos can be a struggle for us at times.
If you can do that, I mean, you're going to be a lot calmer.
Yes, yes. I'm learning this a little late in life, but
me
I'm
too.
learning how to be more calm and
know why I'm not calm.
Realistic. Yes, exactly, exactly. Well, I'm really looking forward to your talk. I think this will be really interesting. I'm glad that you made it here to JFrog, and glad to have you.
I'm pleased to be here. Thanks very much for having me.
Well, thank you for this lovely chat. I love talking to a fellow developer about real problems, real issues that we deal with all the time. This is great.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Well, there we have Ola at JFocus 2023 at the DevOps Speakeasy. Thanks.